Happy Literacy Week!
We back and 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 we back.
Better than I was the last time.
Raps just made me anxious and that shit made me crazy.
Hi guys, we're back with another video. Today, as you can see, it's Literacy Week and we all dressed up because it's dress up day in school today. I'm Kathy and Laura is Heathcliff from Wuthering Heights. I'm Wuthering,
Whichever you feel.
yeah. And Alva right here is our favourite thing
She is everything. She's Thing 6
from Dr. Seuss's Cat in the Hat.
Exactly, it's absolutely amazing. So, Alva was our little guest on the
Surprise
show today.
guest appearance.
Thanks for having me, guys.
So we're going to talk through some of our favourite novels and things like that, and Alva's going to study some maths in the corner.
I really need to study maths.
Okay, so the first book that I have selected to be the book that I'm recommending to you and all of you is
It was a
Am
very
I...
circumambitious way you got to that.
We're gonna be dropping some lit hits throughout the video. A little hit of literacy.
Shake it out, shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. Ooh, oh, shake it.
Okay, so this book, in my opinion, is about a young girl fulminating to the world everything that she is just absolutely struggling with, you know, from not being popular enough, kind of being anxious about friends and where to go to college and parties and boyfriends and everything like that. And all the while she has OCD, which is overcompulsive disorder. And it's just basically a story talking through how she deals with that and how she braves telling her parents and how they handle it terribly. And the regrets and her road to recovery. It's a really, really good story. And then she goes out with this guy and she kind of gives him everything and thinks that he's going to make all her problems, her mental health problems, better, but he doesn't. And she doesn't tell him that she has OCD or that she's an eating disorder, and she's so doped up in painkillers, she just kind of wanders through life. And he's like, oh, I'm so glad that you're so chill and you just don't like control me like all these other girls, but really she has no personality because she's so doped up. Yeah, what do you think?
It seems like a very heavy going book.
But I think sometimes it's good to have a heavy book because, you know, if you're somebody who's reading it and you're like, oh, I can relate with that and don't
Yeah.
feel so alone. Anyway, this has gotten serious. It's by Holly Byrne, really good writer, and actually writes some really funny novels as well. Really like the cover. Am I normal yet? Yes or no? It's a big no from me. Yeah. If I can just take a second, not to make this video 100 years long, but like we have this gorgeous like sunshine yellow, which was one of the reasons I bought the book. But then we come to this side and my bookshelf is right near the window. So it's just come in and stained the...
But you know, I think it's quite cute, you know? There's just a bit of diversity.
yeah.
And
we
it kind of
like
ombres
diversity.
right here.
Yeah.
So there's a
'Cause
bit
the
of
lighter goes back
yellow
like that.
and then, you know, ombres into like a lime green.
And then it just goes, yeah.
And it's beautiful.
So that's book one. I would give that a solid 8 out of 10 because it's just lots of twists and turns. Anticlimactic events.
Well,
On your back, so shake it
Very fitting.
my first book is called Wuthering Heights. And as Laura said, it's very fitting for our outfit
Ensemble
of choice
today.
today. So it's basically about this young girl who has gone into this performing arts secondary school, and she's kind
I
of...
went to one of those.
Me too.
Really interesting.
And she's kind of... I actually watched a YouTuber, and she's in like a performing arts school, and it's so cool. They do like drama for like an hour, 2 hours, and
See,
it's
I
like
think
double
that should
classes.
be something that should be introduced into Mount Talk.
Even they did it in TY. They have like drama classes for
Yeah.
like the last 2 classes on
On a Wednesday.
a Wednesday. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
And they have the TY show. We went to that last night. Really, really good.
But I just feel like it'd be good for all years.
Yeah. Like Step It Up High Water. Oh,
Yeah.
would love to go to that. Highly recommend
Yeah,
that
they
show.
do like acting classes, and then they do go into dance, and then they go into singing.
And not even that, like they have music as in being able to produce the music and like make it like a sick beat, if I may.
You may
sorry.
not.
Go on with the book.
And it's basically kind of, if you know Angus Thongs and Perfect Snogging,
Love that movie and love that book.
Wild Child, it's kind of a mix of the two, and it's a really great read. It's kind of a coming of age kind of story, which is personally my favourite.
A Bildungsgurm,
Don't know what that is.
Latin for coming of age.
Really?
Yeah.
Learn something new every day.
Another lit hit if I can.
It's by Louise Renison, and yeah, it's very good, very funny.
Exactly. In keeping with your...
A hoot, says the Sunday Times.
It's all a hoot. I love that when you have the little quotes people had about the book.
Yeah.
My graceless heart. So tonight I'm gonna cut it out and then.
With your book there, this is a short read. It's a synopsis of a TED talk given by this woman who describes herself as a black feminist, in a society that needs to talk about feminism, in a society where feminism is described as something dirty almost and kind of rejected, and it has so many bad stigmas surrounding it that it's almost shameful to identify with being a feminist. But it doesn't blame anybody. It doesn't take a judgmental approach to the subject. She gives her experience and her thoughts on the subject, and yeah, it's as I said, a synopsis of her TED talk, so you can watch the TED talk on YouTube or wherever else. But she was actually on our Leaving Cert English mock.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that. I only bought it after. It was coincidental. But it's really, really good. It's only a million years later. It's only around 50 pages, 48 pages. Highly recommend.
It's a shot in the dark and right in my throat. 'Cause looking for help.
I was here. It's basically about this two best friends, and one of the best friends, her name is Cody, and she thinks that she knows her best friend so well, but they've kind of grown apart because of university and life. So they kind of drift apart, but they still think that they know each other really well. And then her best friend commits suicide.
Wow.
And she ends up finding out that she didn't actually know her best friend that well, and the things that were happening in her life she had no idea were happening to her best friend. And it's just, as Stephen Chbosky says, it's a pitch perfect blend of mystery, tragedy and romance.
I'd love to read that.
Yeah.
Looks really good.
And as you say, I do love the cover.
With the devil on your back, so shake him off.
The story really reminds me of this one. It's called All the Bright Places, and written by a writer called Jennifer Niven, she's renowned among the YA genre. And the book is about two characters who come from very different social backgrounds and kind of cliques within the school infrastructure. One is very into being popular and having friends and parties and all that kind of shebang, and then the other guy is kind of a social outcast, doesn't really care what people think. But on the first page of the book, in the first chapter, it opens with them on top of a church kind of bell, where the bell is in a church, in the school, and they're both aiming to commit suicide. And he talks her down, and then it's basically the whole book is about her kind of healing from her sister's death. That's why she was on the bell tower that day, through seeing the world from his eyes, which is weird because he looks at the world so depressingly, and every single day all he thinks is about is how this situation could lead to him ending his life. It's a very good book, definitely a tearjerker, but 10 out of 10.
I love Jennifer Niven. I love Jennifer Niven.
Yeah,
I like
she's
her
really
other
good.
book. What was it?
Oh, the one you read in France.
The Holding Up the Universe. Very good book.
Very good book.
Loved it. I'm not a big reader, so for me to like a book is very rare.
So shake 'em off. Ooh, oh.
For our last book, we have a non-fiction book, and it is extremely interesting. Now, I'm only reading this at the moment and I'm only a quarter of the way through it, but it's a collection of social experiments, studies from MIT, Columbia University on the power of habit. And, you know, how many people are just going through their day in kind of a what's it called? Like a hamster wheel. And just continuously doing the same things, and you're not learning or adapting or forming new habits, you're just floating, kind of. And it's about like how to study and how to, if you want to try something new, or it's just really, really interesting. Like it starts off about this woman who was like obese, she was an alcoholic, she was a drug addict, she was like, had no aspirations in life insofar as she just went to her job that wasn't a particularly academic job that she could work up and, you know, professionalize in. She was very humdrum, mundane, automaton kind of a woman, but her husband cheats on her and divorces her, so she just takes out all the money that she has, steals some of his money, and goes to Egypt
My kind of girl.
for 3 months, and it just absolutely threw her whole habit off. She'd no money to buy alcohol, she'd no money to buy cigarettes, so she stopped. Each day she got this job inside in a little cafe, she'd have to walk, so within 6 months she lost so much weight. And she said when she came back to London, because that's where she was from, completely changed. And she said all these things were just holding her back, because she was like, I can never do anything, you know, I'm an alcoholic, whatever.
So it changed her perspective on
Life. And she just said, oh, I can't do it because these things are set. But it wasn't, it was just a habit.
Yeah.
And when she changed that, it just changed her whole perspective on life, and now she's running a business, CEO. Really interesting.
That's incredible.
But it was basically the waves on her brain, and they took her in and like took a scan of her brain, and basically the drugs had done damage to one side of her brain that was like memory, but it had been like activated. I won't go into it because I'm really going to butcher the science of it, but it was
Lauren, the new neurosurgeon.
surgeon. But yeah, they're just a small collection of our books.
And that's all we have for you today.
Happy Literacy Week, and
Exactly.
get reading. If there's nothing, you know, especially over the summer when you've nothing better to be doing, pick up a book, even an Audible if you're not into reading.
Yeah, my brothers do that. They read Audibles, listen to Audibles,
Yeah,
because
especially when you're like traveling or
yeah, it's very, very easy to just pick up and listen to. I mean, instead of listening to your music, like your playlist in a car, just listen to the Audible.
even though Rainbow Kitten Surprise Cocaine Jesus is a personal favorite. Thanks guys, bye.
See you later.
See you next week.
Wax just made me looser, that wax just made me lazy. And I still make this song, and I'ma make another. If you ever actually hit me, better watch out for my brother. Better, I'll take that.
Did you focus, yeah? Okay.
Could
Let's
you
go.
focus, yeah?